one of the people that is like my newest audio, can I say audio obsession?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, because I love authenticity. And Austin Meade is a very authentic artist. I feel so grateful that we're in a time now where there's Austin and Jared James Nichols and people like Aaron Jones and like just all these great up and coming guitar masters who are out in front of their bands doing their thing and doing a little bit of the reinvention of why we love guitar. So thank you for joining me on Reconnect with Rockers. I'm a fangirl, dude. I'm a fangirl. What do you want?
I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing up those guys too, man. It's really cool just to, have people enjoying our music all over different parts of the country and stuff. That's a new thing to me. So
Is it really? It's a new thing to you. You've been at it for a while. So like when I say new DHA rock from Austin Meade, this is Blackout, which by the way is like such an earworm for me. I play it on the air. It's with me all day. It just kind of stays with me. But you've been doing this, you've been putting out records, releasing for almost 10 years now. And I
yeah.
love your background because unless I read things wrong, so you'll correct me if my facts are wrong, but you came from like a musical family, not necessarily where everybody was out like jamming as musicians, but where music was important and the passion of rock and roll bands. I think it was your dad who kind of turned you on to some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going to concerts since before I could walk, and he's really the rock star of the family. He's
Papa
actually a
is, he
Southern
is.
Baptist.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, he is a Southern Baptist pastor, so he's been on the stage,
That's the
crazy, right?
next question I was
But
going to ask because I read that like you and dad, you would go to Judas Priest shows. Yeah.
oh yeah, all that. And I think we've
And then
been to
dad was
probably.
preaching from the pulpit. Like that is so unique, my friend.
Yeah, we've probably been to the most, if I had to guess, the most we've seen probably Iron Maiden shows. And we've probably been to a handful of Megadeths too. Those probably be like the top two as far as most times. But yeah, he was always into really big into music and like, yes, rock and roll, but I will also like the songwriting and like the depth of the songs. And I guess that just kind of rubbed off on me. I liked writing when I was younger, and I was kind of a bookworm, growing up. And so just enjoyed like being able to maybe it's a little conceited. Maybe it's being in control of the story or the character a little bit, like, and pushing it wherever you want to go. And that's always fun. And, we could talk about it in circles for days, but I think just lately, like I just turned 30. So like my mind kind of changes about stuff a little bit, than it was when I was in my early 20s. But I think maybe it's just like being able to be honest and say the shit that you might find difficult to say in person. And then I can just put that in a song. And I guess I just found out that other people were kind of feeling the same way about, about a lot of things. And so, uh, saying some tough things, but musically seems like a little more hardcore to me. So I don't
Yeah,
have to,
yeah,
I don't have to touch
absolutely.
I don't have to touch my feelings as much as I want to. Maybe that's what I have to get down to. But that's kind of how I see music is I can make up a story and like really run with it and have a lot of fun and like live through that character, or I can be really just disgustingly honest with myself and say things that maybe I do believe about myself or about somebody around me. And I can just be like, dude, that was a song. I'm sorry. I don't know that it's kind of a
Well, I was reading about you because the songs for me were stories and storytelling. So when I'm doing a little bit of prep for an interview, I'll Google like Austin Meade storytelling, and something weird popped up where there was a quote from you where you said you don't really think of yourself as a storyteller. I think of myself as a musician and kind of like a banging band, and we're out there playing. And I think it's a great perception that you have of yourself. But I'm sort of in that traveling, the rose romance and, all of these great, Austin songs. So, are you starting to think maybe a little bit of yourself like a storyteller a little bit more maybe these days?
maybe so. I guess when I said that, well, one, every time I go back and I can't even listen to old interviews, so I feel like I sound like such an idiot in the
No, you
past.
don't though. You do not. You do not. Nobody does because I would talk about something I said last week. I mean, I think there's an evolution and a growth in everything, and you're a banging musician. So I can see where you were coming from. Like, look, you didn't want to be the preaching guy, being a storyteller in that way. So I kind of got that, but I think, your songwriting's so freaking good. I don't think you have a choice now.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I guess, but maybe when I said that, I was like comparing myself directly to like Tom Petty or somebody that I've just seen as like the biggest thing, in the world. And um, I guess it just depends who you're comparing yourself to. Cause yeah, I mean, there is some music out there that I'd be like, what the hell? That didn't even make sense, But and compared to that, maybe I am a songwriter, storyteller, but I try to like keep my head. I'm a very competitive guy, and so I think competition is like healthy, right? That's what keeps me like pushing forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So like my dad was also one of my coaches growing up, so he was like hard on me, harder than the rest of the kids. So it was the opposite of the regular coach's son, where it's like I wasn't just given the position of whatever it was, quarterback or whatever on the basketball team, like point guard. I had to actually work for it, and as soon as I messed up, I knew about it like that second. And so that I think like maybe that competition is just what's pushed me for my whole like musical career and songwriting. And so, but I definitely think like you mentioned, like there's growth just in a person. You would hope for that, right? Whether it be an interview, whether it be music, whether it be songwriting. And I think that's why I've put out so much music too, because I mean, I started releasing music, yeah, about 10 years ago and was touring a little bit before then. But as soon as I put out a record, I'm like, damn it, I need the next one to be better. So then
I
I
love
try to
that. I
have
love
to go
that.
back and do it. And yeah, I go through different stages. Like with Blackout, it's a short song, and so I wanted to do as much as I could in like a 2.5 minute segment, which is like so hard to do, to like fit different elements of a story and a song in there, but still get the whole like heart of it across. That's pretty tough to do sometimes in that short of a time, and for it to all make sense. So that was a challenge for me there. But like there's always some sort of a challenge. Like when I start a song, it's like, okay, how can I make a better melody than the last time? Or how can we make like the guitar part more interesting or more unique than the last one? And so I think that you can see that and hear that through the records. There's probably like early on, I just think those records suck, but I think I was trying to do something that I didn't fully develop yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess I've kind of learned to hopefully give myself a little slack on those things. But my influence has changed too. Like early on, I was listening to like a lot more country and, the Tom Petty's and the Ryan Adams of the world. And then the last couple of years, I've been like just really big into going back into metal and rock. We were lucky enough to be on a Seven Dust tour a couple of years ago, and that kind of made me grab my balls and really
You
get
got to
back
grab your balls on a Seven Dust tour. I mean,
yeah.
literally, I mean, they just did a show for us, our big Rock the Rock Fest. And we had like 3 bands that were coming after them. And I saw everybody on the side of the stage like, uh,
Good luck.
no, I got to get a shirt. I never want to offend anybody, but I always got to get a shirt that says no one wants to follow Seven Dust. So yeah, I get it, but I hear all of that in the music. And that's what I think is so amazing about it. And you started as a drummer, correct?
Yeah, that's how things started for me, just in school.
Damn. Yeah.
Did the marching band, and
Well, I
then
love drummers as vocalists. I think drummers as vocalists are the best vocalists because there's something that's very rhythmic about the quality, like a Steven Tyler. You got Tyler who was always scatting things, and he just had such a unique quality to delivering a song. You've got like a Sully. You were on tour with Godsmack. Sully's the great percussionist. So I love when I read that about you, and there's such like a freshness to the sound where there's like a kind of a beat thing going on. And so I can hear that in the vocals. And I'm like, damn, I love his vocals. That's the reason why, because he's got that kind of background.
thanks. Yeah, that's funny that you bring that up, because that was actually at the beginning of my career when I was doing a lot of regional stuff, just in Texas and Oklahoma. There was always these songwriters or like more known acts that would be like, man, why do you play guitar like a drummer? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know how to play guitar like a guitar player. So, a lot of the chord progressions are based off of where I would probably hit a cymbal or a kick drum. I mean, I feel like Dave Grohl does a hell of a lot of that with Foo Fighters.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you need a shirt that says that. Why do you
Yeah.
play guitar like a drummer?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thankfully, thankfully I found a drummer that's a lot better at drums than I was, and so now everything sounds better.
Yeah, the band is awesome. I mean, I can't wait to see you guys live, but I've been watching lots of YouTube videos and stuff. The band is just smoking. You got a great, just amazing band. And talk to me about touring. I mean, you're out on all the big festivals, getting ready to go do Lala. You
Yeah.
guys are doing Aftershock. You're doing like so many big giant festivals. What is that like for you? What kind of a headspace do you get in before jumping on stage at one of those gigs?
Um, I'm a pretty like during work time and that I get pretty maybe stressed, maybe not the right word, but maybe focused and like real short to the point. Like I don't have time for people's shit. So I get pretty particular or anal about where stuff is on the stage and like why someone's not done with something yet. And you can do that whenever you have time at like a headline gig or a support gig, but on those big festivals, you don't have time for that. You're the early afternoon band, and you better shut your mouth and get out of the way. But you still have to like be yourself and not just be a scared little kid in the corner. So really on the Godsmack tour, that was a really big difference for us. And before that, I had mentioned like the ZZ Top tour. On that one, we were direct, so we had some time, but we were living in someone else's space and respectful of like everything they have to do. You're just lucky to be on the tour. So doing those bigger ones, really kind of it keeps you humble and also very appreciative of the spot. It also teaches you how to do things a lot faster and more efficiently. So maybe it took you an hour and a half and plus a 30-minute sound check to set up and get ready to play a show in the past. Now you're like, no, I'm doing it in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to do those things efficiently. And um, you get more relaxed as your crew like starts to learn those things. And as you just kind of create more of an efficient machine. It's a totally different headspace than songwriting and creating. Cause with that, I like to really have fun and like try everything possible, because what if this idea sounds cooler than that? But as far as the festival and the touring, you really don't have a lot of time for that. And I think you gain a lot of respect on the road by um, when you are the opener, like maybe kind of being a little bit more of a minimalist on your needs and all that kind of like diva crap. Like you can let the front guy of the biggest band do everything he wants to do that, but that's really not your job. So it's I guess you kind of think like a tour manager a little bit on those situations.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you just go out. I mean, everything I've watched, you guys have gone out and killed it. That's the job at hand. Go
Yeah.
out and kill it, you know? And you have people, I'm sure, when you're on the ZZ tour and Billy F is on the side of the stage with those magic fingers. I mean, oh my God, I talked to Billy Gibbons and I have a microphone, but I'm not looking at Billy. I just am looking at the fingers because I just want to see what's coming out of those fingers. You look to the side of the stage, you see those guys or somebody watching you, and you're just like, you know what? We're bringing it. We got to bring it, and we're bringing it every night.
Yeah, he would kind of scare me a little bit the first time or two, because he came out on the side of the stage and he was filming us with his camera.
No, oh,
Yeah, he's like,
mama.
so he's standing there and he's doing that thing, and I'm like, what the hell's going on with my life? Billy Gibbons videoing us now. And then we'd come off stage and he'd be like, I like that moment after that one song, and kind of pick
Ah,
out points. And that was a kind of a one of those things you don't really realize what's going on until
well, it's a
after.
heart-stopping moment. Heart-stopping moment. I've interviewed him before, and for me, it's just a heart-stopping moment going, I can't be here with Billy Gibbons. He came once in his pajamas with his little cap on. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
this cannot be happening to me right now. But if it is, you can take me tonight because I'm good with
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. And you're having so many of these incredible moments and totally deserved. And it's so funny because you're unboxable. And when I say that, you're reading about artists and people will be like, Texas alt rocker, Austin Meade. I'm like, how did he become a Texas? He's just as a rock guy. You're a
Yeah.
rock guy, like, any guy fronting their band that's, this next breed and generation of guitar masters here. So it's very funny because I love when people try to put you in a box, and there's really no box for you, which I think is the beauty of who you are.
Yeah, I think that is a thing that's kind of set us apart. 2 points. there's definitely a bigger guitar master in the group, and that's David Willie. He's been a part of the band with me for like 6 years now. It's like my right hand man. So we do a lot of the songwriting together, and he definitely makes me look like a fresh kitten on the guitar compared to him. But yeah, he's really where a lot of the crazy stuff comes from, and a lot of times he'll bring me some riffs, or I'll bring him a riff, and his may be a little bit too complicated for my brain to comprehend, like where the head bob should be. And you mentioned there's a lot of that, you can feel where the beat is. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to mash my style of like always wanting like a breakdown or like a head bobbing moment in there with his kind of intricate. It's like a mix of metal and jazz. But anyways, yeah, he's like a beast, and he joined the band right before we recorded Black Sheep. So from Black Sheep and from Abstract Art of an Unstable Mind and the new stuff like
Such a
Blackout.
good record. Such a good record, by the way, too. Such a good record. That's when I really, really started to get into the music, long before I got Blackout. And I was just like, man, this guy is unbelievable, unstoppable.
For Black Sheep, or which one? Which one?
Well, I started literally to get into the last record,
Okay.
because a friend of mine was working, with you on your record. And he's like, we've got this guy and he's going to be on our, he's going to be on our roster, Austin Meade. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I love Abstract Art of an Unstable Mind. It's one of my favorite records of the year. So I was really excited because that's when I really started to get into the music, and then I went back and I sort of, that's the beauty of it too. Because you look at somebody who's been recording since 2014 and there's all of this stuff to sort of go back and inhale and comprehend. So that's when I sort of discovered who you were, and then had that sort of great fan moment of going back and rediscovering everything that you've put out before that.
Thanks. Yeah, the Abstract Art, that was probably my favorite record to make. Because there's just so many genres on the same record. It's kind of
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah, crazy.
Um, which is why I called it Abstract Art of an Unstable Mind, because I was like, am I crazy, or am I just fucking enjoying this too much personally, or what?
Little
And
bit of both, which is good. Little bit of both. You need a little bit of both of those things.
I do think that some people have a hard time grasping that you don't have to be in that box, right? Because
Bam.
when I put that out, I was like, I felt like on Billy Madison, where he's like, I'm the smartest man alive. And then I felt like that for a minute. And then I was like, wait, hold on. How come this hasn't surpassed like Happier Alone, which is our most popular song, but it's the
Yep.
same four fucking chords over and over
Yep.
again. And it was kind of like a just realization of, um, you don't get to decide what people like or what might make you famous or not, or more popular in the music world or not. Like, all you can really do is make what you believe and you feel is the best. And then sometimes people grab onto it. Sometimes it takes a while for people to grab onto it. And then, like, I feel like Abstract Art, I've always thought that maybe that's a record that a lot of people might grasp onto once they figure out who we are in a couple years. And I think that record might, I hope.
I hope so
Um,
too. I hope so too.
but I thought putting that together, it was like, this is so complicated and technical, and there's 10 different genres, and there's these intros, and the songs connect together, and it's the same characters. I'm like, no one's gonna miss this. And then I'm like, wow, maybe it is too complicated to comprehend like those things in the way that I intended. But I don't regret making it at all. Like, it was literally my favorite record to make, and I feel like there's so many special moments on there, that for a real like music fan that loves to sit there and dig in and like re-listen to things, that has time to do that, I think there's a lot of gold mine in there.
Yeah, 1000%. Thousand,
So I
thousand, thousand
like to
percent.
I
Yeah.
like to do that all the time. I'll just get stoned and listen to
I
a
always say,
record.
my friend, you are fresh and you are familiar. And I think that those are two of the best F words out there right now. And
Yeah.
I love the sound, and Blackout, like presently right now, and there's a lot of great new rock out there. My favorite new WDHA rocker for sure. There's just a vibe to that song, and it's got something for everyone. It's got that cool beat, and it's got that great fuzzy kind of guitar and those soulful vibey vocals, and every box, man, check, 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 and beyond check. And Austin, when you come to Jersey, do you promise, if you're in the New York area, New Jersey area, you're gonna come by and see us? Will you come by?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. We have a tour coming up that we're gonna announce. We'll be up there later this year. Yeah.
Yay, it was such a pleasure to hang out with you too. I feel like it's an old drinking buddy from like my high school days. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for hanging out with me.
Thanks for taking a bit to listen, and we'll definitely catch up whenever we're up there.
Best of luck on the road.
All right, hey, cheers.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Gary and Meg's Chicken and Ribs on Erie Avenue in Wayne. The best Jersey grilled, not smoked, barbecue. Menu at GaryandMeg'sChickenRibs.com. And by Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.